Hello, everybody, and welcome to what we're calling Welcome to Father Jim's Neighborhood. My apologies to Fred Rogers, but I at least got a red jacket. A couple days ago, I received an email from one of our parishioners about a meeting that I'm going to be involved with. And as the parishioner wrote, the parishioner is a grandmother, and she talked about how her heart just aches because her grandchildren live here in town, and she, in the past, has been able to see them every day and to talk with them and give them a hug and find out about what's going on in their lives. And while you can do this through social media, she misses that personal contact. And I could empathize, with her sentiments, because I remember my late mother, usually every Saturday when I would call her, especially now when these last years that she was in the nursing facility, usually the last thing she would say to me before we said goodbye is, "When are you coming up here?" Or when I did go up there, as I was getting ready to leave and I'd kiss her goodbye, she'd say, "When are you coming back?" It always pained me because that question, there was this deep loneliness that was there, that longing for contact with those that we love. As I responded to the grandmother here in the parish, and I suspect this is the case for those of you who are grandparents, or it may be parents whose children live nearby, but because of the pandemic restrictions don't have the physical contact that we've had. I happen to think about in grade school, the sisters would tell us that when we were suffering in some way, that we were to offer it up. Well, we really didn't think much about it. Then we thought, well, that's the sisters. It's kind of nice and pious. You expect the nuns to tell you that. But as I reflected on that, as I mentioned that to this grandmother who had contacted me, I thought, Sister was right. We can offer it up. St. Paul tells us that we make up in our own bodies what is still lacking in the sufferings of Christ. Not that Christ's sacrifice hasn't taken away the sins of the world, but that our sufferings, united with Jesus' sufferings, are the means through which Jesus brings his peace and healing to all of those who most need it in the world today. And so I suggested to the grandmother that when she feels these pangs of deep longing and sadness about not being able to physically be with her grandchildren or to hug them or to visit with them about their day, that she offer it up. And offer it up in the sense of when feel those pangs of loneliness, to think about the many people in the world who, not only now during the coronavirus, but even before, suffered from the lack of anybody reaching out to them. Think about the many homeless in the world, the homeless in our nation, the homeless here in Ames, where nobody checks in on them. They seemingly are just kind of invisible to us. Or think about prisoners, many times who are left abandoned by their families, their friends, communities, and they're invisible to us, and yet there's that deep loneliness. I recall somebody that I visited in prison, one of the state prisons, for several years, and how much those visits meant to that individual, because somebody reached out, somebody hadn't forgotten. Or we think about people like my late mother or others, sometimes who have outlived many of their own siblings, who live in our nursing facilities or may still be in their own homes, but long for contact. We can offer those pains of loneliness in ourselves as a prayer for them. And it might be a reminder to us too, as you've heard me say previously, that if we know someone in a situation like that, that we take a moment to pick up the phone and call them, or drop them a note, or if they've got email, that we send them a tweet or an email. But in some way, offer it up and then, if possible, offering it up to Jesus that he might reach out to them, that if Jesus prompts us to do so, that we be that compassionate embrace of Jesus for them today. So I look forward to visiting with you again next week. Thanks. Let's continue to keep each other in prayer. God bless you.